G'day YouTube, welcome to the VK8FOES YouTube channel. Today we will be addressing the rapid growth of my channel and the surge of subscribers I've experienced recently. This video will serve as a kind of meet and greet to my new subscribers and provide them with an overview of the content that they may find on this channel, and I will try to answer some of the most common questions that I receive via my comment section and my email. About me. So I'll kick off this video by talking about myself briefly. I'll keep this section rather short because there's nothing more insufferable than somebody talking about themselves on the internet, in my opinion. So essentially, my name is Robert. I'm from the north of Australia. My age bracket is mid to late 30s. My amateur radio call sign is VK8FOES. I got my ham radio license in the year of 2020. I got my first computer around 1999. I've been playing around with networking equipment and computers since the start of the millennium, roughly. I started playing around with Linux in 2018 after I purchased a Raspberry Pi 3B+. I purchased my first SDR in 2018, which is this very RTL SDR blog V3 dongle. I'm not a hacker and I do not work in the field of IT or cyber security. So recently I've experienced a massive influx of new subscribers because the YouTube algorithm has been promoting my GSM cracking video. So welcome to all the 14,000 new subscribers. Just quickly, I want to add that I didn't discover the hacking method used in this video. And I didn't develop any of the software tools either, just to clear that up. So yeah, channel about section and how to contact me is the next thing we'll be covering. So this is my YouTube channel, and if we go to the About tab, we can see a list of rules. So let's go through them all quickly. So I just want to make it very clear that I will not help you track a cellular network subscriber's mobile phone. I will not assist you in targeting and intercepting a particular cellular network subscriber's data. I will not instruct you to eavesdrop on private telecommunications, SMS messages, voice calls, and GPRS data. I know nothing about SS7 vulnerabilities, nor do I care about them. We're going to talk about SS7 very shortly. Do not email me or comment about 3G UMTS, 4G LTE, and 5G NR hacking. These have not been publicly cracked and they never will be. I will not teach you how to hack social media accounts, apps, or games. So yeah, that's just a list of the rules on my channel. A lot of people ask me if I have any social media messaging apps or voice chat apps like Discord or Telegram. Unfortunately, I do not. On my About page, if you browse to the bottom, you will see my email address. This is the only way to contact me, okay? Please do not email me asking about malicious or illegal activities because I won't respond and I'll block your email address permanently. The reason I have to state all this stuff, guys, is because this is a daily occurrence, people asking me to do this stuff. It's illegal and I can't do it. I can't show you how to do it either. It's not allowed, and you can find all the pieces to the puzzle are documented enough on my channel. If you put them all together, you'll figure out how to do all this stuff. But I'm not going to show you how to do it, nor do I partake in this kind of stuff. Okay, we're going to talk about SS7 and why I refuse to make videos or talk about it on my channel or help anybody try and exploit it. I'm asked this on a near daily basis on my channel and in my email address. So I'll show you why I'm not going to talk about SS7. I'm not going to talk about what SS7 is. Most people on this channel probably know what it is, but you can do research in your own time. So SigFloyd is the software toolset for exploiting SS7 vulnerabilities in cellular networks. If we read the README file, we can see right here that it states very clearly that you need to have SS7 access. So these are carrier-grade SS7 gateways. They are a critical infrastructure inside a cellular network. SS7 began to be exploited in 2013 by security researchers and hackers. And I guess that the SS7 appliances inside a cellular provider's network were publicly routable across the internet, allowing malicious activity to be undertaken. In the modern day, after these vulnerabilities were disclosed, cellular network operators have probably begun putting their SS7 gateways behind strict firewalls and disabling the anytime interrogation functionality, which is how people exploit SS7. So we can see a typical topology of a cellular network, and we can see the SS7 gateway sitting there at the edge. So essentially, that means that to have access to an SS7 gateway in order to exploit SS7, you'll either have to establish direct physical access to a cellular network operator's infrastructure or intrude into their network via hacking. Obviously, both of these things are very, very illegal. And yes, I'm aware that there are individual hackers and paid services that exploit SS7 vulnerabilities in the current year of 2023. I have no idea how they achieve that, and I do not want to know how either. And I will let Caster Null explain how he did it.
Question is that what was your hook point for actually doing this test?
I think I'll quote Tobias here by saying I'd rather not say anything about that.
Okay.
So did we get that, everybody? He'd rather not talk about it because we all know how he got SS7 access. He broke in, or he potentially broke in to a cellular network provider's SS7 gateway. Potentially. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I'm not sure. So yeah, please do not ask me about SS7. Please. I don't care about it and I don't want to know anything about it because it's illegal to exploit it. Okay? Thank you. So what is my channel all about anyway, and what is the subject matter? Obviously, everything radio. I absolutely love RF. It is a technology that was discovered and developed in the late 1800s and has become so widespread and intertwined in modern society that people often forget that wireless communication basically runs the entire planet and society would collapse without it. Here's a really, really cool video from the ACMA in Australia, which is our spectrum regulator. And it shows basically how critical wireless communication is to modern daily life. It's 4 minutes long. I'm not going to play it now, but go and check that out in your own time. It's really, really cool. So on my channel, you'll find content relating to, but not limited to, cellular hacking, software-defined radio, amateur radio, or ham radio as it's commonly known, satellite monitoring, shortwave listening, RF hacking, HF utility DXing, cryptography, digital signals decoding, CB radio, military communications, aviation and maritime communication, and mobile phone base stations. You can't see that there, but that's what that text there says. And the list goes on and on. If it has to do with radio, we cover it on my channel. We love RF. So what is this channel not about? Malicious activity of any kind. Tracking mobile phone users. Intercepting private telecommunications, calls and SMS. IP hacking of any kind. Hacking social media, email, apps or games. banking and password reset, one-time password interception, denial of service attacks, performing practical hacking attacks on real operating networks, and illegal activity of any kind. And getting asked how to do this kind of stuff is nearly a weekly occurrence in my email and my comment section of my YouTube channel. So a question that a lot of people ask me is where I got my knowledge from about this stuff. It's the most asked question I get that I receive via email. I have no formal training in cybersecurity or information technology. I'm just a computer geek that knows how to read. Here are some examples of resources which can be utilized to gain knowledge of a particular software toolset or hacking method. So this is called a mailing list. This is a popular way for developers and end users to communicate on the topic of a particular software tool. In this example, I'm showing the mailing list archive for the GSM decryption tool called Kraken. Chances are there is someone or multiple people who have asked the same question that you may have. I've used this A51 mailing list extensively while learning how to use Kraken for GSM decryption. Secondly, we have the GitHub issues section. This is also a great resource because, like mailing lists, it is another great way for end users to ask questions directly to the developers of a software tool. If you have a question about the usage of a hacking tool, for example, chances are somebody has already asked it in the GitHub issues section. I learned how to decode AMR multi-rate voice codecs in 2G from the GRGSM issues tracker page, which is really cool. Thirdly, we have Google Groups. Not all software tools have a Google Groups forum, but GRGSM does, for example. This is a great resource that I used extensively while learning how to decrypt and decode GSM. Again, if you have questions about GRGSM, chances are somebody has already asked it. And you can do cool text search up here with your keywords about your issue or query, which is really cool. Now, this next resource should be pretty obvious, but it gets overlooked so much at this point that it has essentially become a meme in coding circles. Reading the README file. Always read the README file of software before reaching out to developers or me for help. In this example, here's the README file for GSM-TK, where the developer gives you exact commands and instructions to compile and run his software. Next, we have hacker conference talks. Quite often, the developers of hacking tools will present their discoveries and findings publicly at the DEF CON, Black Hat, or C3 hacking conventions, to name a few. This is the presentation from Caster Noel explaining the usage of his GSM cracking utility called Kraken. These presentations are very informative and often explain in great detail how to use a software toolset or the methods used. Quite often, we can transcribe and run commands directly as they are presented during the talk. Okay, Linux. Let's talk about Linux. Because all the fun and naughty practical applications of SDR technology happen exclusively in Linux, knowledge and skills of how to use it are essential. A good way to learn how to use the Linux operating system is to use a virtualization host. I won't explain what virtualization is because most of my viewers should know what that is by now. But using Oracle VirtualBox or VMware Workstation Player, we can install Ubuntu or any flavor of Linux that you prefer into a virtual machine. That way you can safely play around to learn the ins and outs of the terminal command line interface and file structure without the fear of breaking anything. In this example, I have VMware Workstation Player running a virtual instance of Dragon OS Focal X, which is my Linux flavor distribution choice. If you're not a regular Linux user and you become more proficient at using it, I highly recommend installing Linux to a bootable USB thumb drive, or installing it directly onto a spare PC or laptop that you may have laying around. USB pass-through on virtualization hosts can cause issues with SDR dongles, and the performance overhead can impede the software from working correctly. Running Linux on bare metal is always superior to virtualization. And this is an example of a USB thumb drive that I have installed Dragon OS Focal X to. And while we are on the topic of Linux, if you're trying to run software via the command line interface in Linux, always send the application the H argument. In most cases, this should print the help file in the terminal window and show which arguments can be configured and sent to the application with brief explanations of their functionality. So I'll just hit enter on that. This is Iridium Extractor. And we can see that all the configurable options and the usage are documented. So that's very cool. Okay, descriptions of my videos can sometimes be a good resource too. I always like to give a brief essay of what I'm doing in the video, and I try to list the hardware and software used, and I put all of the commands I run in there for easy copying and pasting, so my followers can follow along and replicate what I'm showing. Now, this next resource is a very obvious one, doing web searches. By now, I guess most people have observed that Google's search functionality appears to be getting worse and worse. To be honest, it is absolute trash in the modern day. A good alternative is to use yandex.com. It is a Russian search engine that has its own issues, I know, but it is probably the closest thing we have right now to the Google of 10 years ago, when Google was awesome. If you do a search, you will probably actually find what you want on the first page most of the time. So yeah, I use that often because Google is absolute trash. Finally, this is my favorite resource. This is the best and most informative resource that makes my channel possible. And this is Aaron from the SEMA Executor YouTube channel. I consider Aaron a friend of the channel. We have chatted via email in the past. This dude is absolutely amazing. His videos are incredible. He is also the author of Dragon OS Focal X, which of course is the main Linux distribution I showcase on my channel. Most of the cool stuff I do on my videos would not be possible without this guy. SEMA Executor is a RF hacking wizard and a Linux magician, and frankly, it is an absolute disgrace to humanity that I somehow have more subscribers than him. So please, everyone, go and subscribe to Aaron, follow him on Twitter, and donate to his Patreon. This dude does not get anywhere near enough recognition for his service to software-defined radio and RF hacking education. So yeah, Aaron, SEMA Executor, awesome dude. So, what is software-defined radio? Viewers of my channel have noticed that the hardware I showcase most often in my videos are software-defined radios, or SDRs as they are commonly known as. SDRs are not a USB dongle, but more so a revolutionary radio technology that has emerged over the last couple of decades. SDR technology is so widespread that you probably have one in your pocket right now. In fact, there's estimated to be 7.1 billion people in the world using it at this very moment. In these things, the modern smartphone. Even communication satellites floating out in geostationary orbit use software-defined radio technology in their transponders. But what is software-defined radio exactly? This is a block diagram of a traditional radio. it probably has a... sorry, I meant to say that this is an example of a traditional radio. It probably has a super heterodyne or a direct conversion SoC type receiver inside of it. Traditional radios generally have dedicated electronic components on their circuit boards handling the various tasks of a radio receiver, such as filtering and demodulating. SDR type receivers have only the RF front-end hardware on board, with the remainder of these functions of a traditional radio being implemented and performed in software only. This makes SDR types of radio receivers very versatile, as they can be programmed in software to receive a wide range of analog and digital signals. This is why they are often utilized in security research and RF hacking. Consumer grade SDR products, such as the ones I showcase on my channel, are generally USB attached computer peripherals that come in a wide range of functionality and price ranges. This RTL SDR Blog V3 is a very, very good entry-level option with limited functionality. It is a receive-only device and is an excellent choice for beginners to the hobby to get their hands dirty and learn about SDR technology. The next step up in price and functionality is a hack RF1. This is a transmit capable device and it is quite expensive. Because of this transmit functionality, naughty things can be done, such as GPS coordinates spoofing, and the opening of garage doors can be done with replay attacks. So yeah, very naughty thing, this thing. And then a step up again in price and functionality is a Blade RF. These things are exorbitantly expensive because it is a full duplex transmit capable SDR, which means it can transmit and receive signals simultaneously. Typical applications of these class of devices are fake 2G and 4G base station attacks. It can be tempting to purchase clone SDRs for discounted prices on AliExpress and eBay and stuff like that. But due to the exorbitant price of these higher end devices, I recommend against this, as the quality of most of these clone SDRs is very poor and often they won't function as intended. This thing is worth almost $700 Australian, and the clone is selling for $140. So yeah, nothing is free in this world. Buy genuine. Even if you have to save up your pocket money for a year, do it. You won't be sorry. It is always noteworthy to mention that when playing around with software-defined radio dongles, do your best to reduce the exposure of high-powered signals into your SDR's antenna. For example, if you're playing around with a handheld radio, do not press the transmit button on it when it is in close proximity to your SDR's receiving antenna. High-powered signals can overload the RF front-end circuitry and damage the receiver. Hack RF1s are especially susceptible to that, so be very careful using your hack RF around high-powered RF sources. Final thoughts. I remember earlier this year when I had 70 subscribers. My father jokingly stated that he couldn't believe that there was that many people in the world interested in this kind of stuff that I showcase on my YouTube channel. Fast forward today, and as I pass 15,000 subscribers as of yesterday, I want to thank all of my viewers and subscribers for supporting my channel. It is very rewarding to see and hear of people being inspired by the videos I produce and upload. To all the newcomers to my channel, welcome to the world of radio communication and software-defined radio. It is a fantastic hobby that will provide endless amounts of knowledge, education, and positive experiences. I'm going to have a sip of beer in celebration of passing the 15,000 subscribers mark. Cheers, guys. And I just spilled it on me. That's embarrassing. Okay, disclaimer time. Obviously, the subject matter of my videos is very contentious from a legal standpoint. So to keep the YouTube censors happy, I must convey a very strong warning. Never, ever perform the hacking attacks that I showcase on my channel on a real operating network. When testing out hacking software tools, they should only ever be used in a simulated environment only. If it is not possible to construct a simulated lab environment, you should only ever use the hacking tools on the provided example data files, usually uploaded by the author of the software for testing out the tools. If you attempt to replicate the steps in any of my videos to perform a hacking attack on a real-life production environment, you will get caught and you will be going to prison for a very, very long time. I promise you that. I will not be held responsible for any legal trouble you get yourself into following my tutorial videos or any other video that I upload. So yeah, that's all I've got for today, people. Thanks very much for watching. Hello to all the new subscribers, and I'll endeavor to keep pumping out awesome content for you guys. Cheers.